Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here, and here's your latest housing market update for California. This is actually part two of my two-part video series. I tend to make 2 videos per month regarding the California housing market. If you missed my previous video, I talked about what we're seeing right now across the state at a statewide level. But in today's video, I'm going to break down how each of the major regions in California fared, and of course, how each of the major counties fared as well, because there's some very big changes here. And in fact, a lot of these counties in California are now recording a decrease in home prices on a year-over-year basis. And I'll share those counties with you guys in today's video. But I want to talk about home prices and home sales mainly in today's video. But of course, I have a lot more to share regarding current housing trends in California. So let's first dive in. And this is again from the California Association of Realtors. They just announced this on the 16th of November here. It says here, at a regional levels, home sales continue to fall sharply from last year. SoCal had the biggest annual sales drop by a decrease of 40.8%. So home sales decreased by 40.8% on a year-over-year basis in Southern California. On top of that, every county in the Southern California region experienced a sales decline by more than 30% in October. So in other words, every county that the California Association of Realtors tracks within SoCal recorded a decrease by more than 30% on a year-over-year basis for home sales. Let's also talk about each county as well, because it says all but one of the California counties. By the way, the California Association of Realtors looks at or examines tracks 51 counties in the state. So, and it says here, all but one California county recorded a year-over-year sales decline in October. The California Association of Realtors records or tracks 51 counties within California, and they report monthly updates for you guys, all right? And I do the same. But it says here only one of those counties. So therefore, 50 of the 51 counties recorded a decrease in home sales on a year-over-year basis. And also 41 of them plunged by more than 20% from 1 year ago. So both Madera County as well as Sutter County recorded decreases in home sales down by 52.4% compared to October 2021. And Mariposa County was the only county in California that did not experience an annual sales decline for October. It remained unchanged compared to last October. Okay, let's talk about home prices in California here. So prices were up from last year by double digits in only 8 counties. So only 8 of the 51 counties recorded double-digit increases in home prices compared to 1 year ago. Santa Barbara County had the biggest increase in home prices on a year-over-year basis, up by 33.2%, but this was primarily due to a change in the mix of home sales for the month. In other words, this year-over-year increase in home prices in Santa Barbara, they must have seen fewer, more affordable houses and or more luxury home sales for the month here. It also says 22 counties recorded a dip in their median price from 1 year ago. So 22 counties out of the 51 recorded a decrease in home prices from 1 year ago. What a difference 1 year makes. I mean, 1 year ago, I don't think there was any county that recorded decreases in home prices on a year-over-year basis. Now there's 22 counties here. Tehama dropped the most down by 20.6%. Also, we saw big declines in Amador, down by 15.2%, Mariposa down by 12.3%, and San Mateo County, which is in the Bay Area, declining by 10%. On top of that, 47 of the 51 counties experienced an increase of active listings. In other words, an increase of housing supply, an increase in the number of houses for sale. So 47 of the 51 counties recorded an increase of active listings on a year-over-year basis here. And 5 counties recorded a triple-digit gain on a year-over-year basis in October. That was Yolo, an increase of 113% in one single year in the number of houses for sale. Pretty crazy. That led the pack, of course. And that was followed by Merced, an increase of 106.8%, Marin up by 105.7%, Placer up by 104%, and Yuba County also up by 104%. So that's a high-level overview about what we're seeing right now in California by each of the major regions and also each of the counties as well. But I also want to share some slides with you guys today and also share after this. I only have, 12 slides to look at. After that, I want to share how each of the counties fared as well, because I'm showing you guys like I do every single month, how each of the counties fared regarding home prices on a month-to-month basis and also compared to 1 year ago, as well as home sales as well. So here's what I shared with you guys in my previous video, a high-level overview regarding the state as a whole. So home sales, a decrease across the state by 36.9% on a year-over-year basis. This is based on a seasonally adjusted annualized rate for home sales for October, down by 37%. Home prices only increased by 0.3% compared to October 2021. And we saw big increases in inventory, up by 83.3% for inventory. And also days on the market, it's taking more than twice as long to sell a house, at least as of October compared to 1 year ago. Days on the market is at 23 days, up by 109.1%. So that's the state as a whole. We're seeing on average across the state. Let's have a look at each of the major regions. Number one would be SoCal, which is it right here. Go figure, it's a southern part of the state. Anyways, existing home sales declined by 40.8%, which is more or less on par with the statewide average at 36.9% decline. So declining by 40.8% in SoCal, and home prices only increasing by 3.2%. The unsold inventory index days in the market is on par with the statewide averages. And the average sale price to list price ratio is 97.3%. Which actually, I think that's the exact percentage for the state as a whole. So approximately out of all the houses that sold in October, those sold on average for about 3% below the seller's asking price. That's what 97.3% means. Let's also talk about the Central Coast, which is right here. Home sales down by 38.8%. Home prices, or the median sold price, at $937,500, up by 8.3% on a year-over-year basis, which is obviously much greater than the averages for the entire year, up by only 0.3% statewide. The unsold inventory index, as well as days in the market, is more or less on par with the statewide averages here, as well as the sale price to list price ratio as well at 97.1%. In the Central Valley, where I'm located here in Sacramento, home sales down by 36.4%. And look at this, home prices flat compared to 1 year ago. Again, this is based on houses that actually have sold. The median sold price at $450,000. Not a decrease, not an increase either, though. Pretty crazy. Flat compared to 1 year ago. Days on market, inventory on par, as well as the ratio as well. So Bay Area, have a look at this. Home prices declined by 2% for the region as a whole based on houses that sold in October. The existing median sold price was $1.25 million. Home sales down by 37%. The unsold inventory index was only 2.4 months, which is well below the statewide average at 3.3 months. And days on the market was slightly lower than the statewide as well. And the average sale price to list price ratio is 98%. Meaning home sellers sold their houses for about 2% below their asking price on average for October. And lastly, in the far north, home sales only declining by 19.1%. This is actually the most affordable region here in California, where the average home price there is $394,000, and home prices increasing by 6.5%. The inventory and also days in the market tends to be higher in this region compared to the statewide averages here, and the average sale price to list price ratio is 96%, which is more or less on par with the average for the state as well. So let's talk about home sales really quickly here. At a high level overview for the state as a whole, home sales declined by more than 30% for the third time in the past 4 months, down by 37% on a year-over-year basis, which is absolutely crazy. Pending home sales, this is actually probably more crazy. So pending home sales for the state as a whole down by 50.5%. So this would imply that home sales are going to be decreasing in the months ahead because we have fewer contracts being signed between buyers and sellers. That should mean that we're going to see fewer closed home sales in November as well as December. So down by 50.5%, which is pretty astonishing given the fact that we have, we have 61% more houses for sale right now on a year-over-year basis, which is pretty crazy. We have 61% more houses for sale, yet pending home sales are down by 50%. So it just shows how home buying demand is decreasing so much given the fact that mortgage rates have been increasing so much over the past couple of months, especially. So let's talk about home prices really quickly. I want to talk about by county. This is pretty crazy. I mean, this was such a different graphic 1 year ago because this is a percent of houses that are selling above the asking price, or homes that sold above the asking price by county. So there's only one county where on average houses are selling above the seller's asking price on average. That's in San Francisco. 64% of the houses that sold in October sold above the seller's asking price. That may seem high, but historically speaking, San Francisco tends to have a much higher number than this. If I'm not mistaken, about a year ago, this number was in the 80s. I mean, close to 90%. So it was very common for houses to sell, well over the asking price. And now it's only 64% of the time where houses sold above the asking price. And every other county is actually below that 50% mark right there. So on average, houses selling below the asking price on average in every other county that we're tracking here. And in fact, Mariposa County, only 7% of all home sales in October sold above the seller's asking price, which of course means that approximately 93% sold at or below the seller's asking price. Let's also have a look at housing inventory in California as well. This is something I also want to bring to your attention as well, because pending home sales were down about 50%. But again, like I mentioned, active listing inventory or housing supply is up by 61.3% on a year-over-year basis. And we've been seeing this giant increase of housing supply over the past several months here in California. And here's a look at home sales versus housing inventory or active listings by region. And this is also pretty crazy because look at this. In the Bay Area, we have 57.2% more houses for sale compared to 2021. Yet despite this, home sales are down by 37.3%. In SoCal, home sales down by 43%, despite the fact they have almost 70% more houses for sale compared to 2021. I mean, this is pretty crazy. If we had a giant increase of demand, if we had a giant increase of housing supply, like we're seeing right now, if demand was very, very strong right now, we'd be seeing a huge uptick in sales. But we're seeing just the opposite. We're seeing a giant increase of supply, yet a giant decrease in home sales by region. It's not just one region here. Anyways, Central Valley, home sales down by 36%. But look at this. Active listings up by 70% on a year-over-year basis. Central Coast also down big time for sales, and active listings up by 53%. In the far north, not seeing as much craziness compared to these other major regions here because active listings only up by 26% and home sales down by 19.1%. And here's a look at how housing supply has been increasing compared to October 2021 by county. So have a look at this. Yolo County increasing by 113% on a year-over-year basis. And also, as I mentioned too earlier on, Merced, Marin, Placer, all increasing by about 100% plus on a year-over-year basis. So they have far more houses for sale in these counties here compared to last year. And really, I mean, every single county here, let's look at this. It looks like about maybe right here, it was about 40%. But all these other counties right here had an increase of over 40% on a year-over-year basis. So 40% more houses for sale right now compared to 2021 at this time. And in stark contrast, there's only 4 counties that recorded a decrease in housing inventory on a year-over-year basis. That's Del Norte, Mono County, Plumas, as well as Siskiyou County in California. So that's the slides I want to share with you guys today in today's video. But I also want to share how each of the major regions fared, and also, of course, the major counties as well regarding home prices as well as home sales. So again, in California, for existing single-family home, that the median sold price there, $801,000. And by my analysis that I shared with you guys in my previous video, this is only an increase of 13% over the last 3 or 2 years. So the median sold price in California has only increased by 13% over the past 2 years. And this is because the median sold price here in California has declined by 11% since May of this year, based on my analysis that I shared in my previous video. So I won't go over that in today's video again, but take a look at that video if you haven't taken a look at that yet. That's my video I posted just yesterday, the video I posted the day before. So overall in California, home prices only increased by 0.3% on a year-over-year basis. And again, by my analysis, this is the smallest year-over-year change for an October since October 2011. Also, prices, again, as I mentioned, are down by 11% since May of this year. Also, as you can see here, home sales are down big time compared to October 2021, down by over 30% in each of the major regions here, except for the far north, only declining by 19.1%. And the biggest gainers for home prices were in the Central Coast, up by 8.3%, the far north up by 6.5%, and the San Francisco Bay Area declining by 2% on a year-over-year basis here. So speaking of that, let's talk about the Bay Area a little bit more here. So look at these home prices here. Napa County, $975,000 is a median sold price as of October 2022. 1 year ago, it was $850,000. That's a giant increase of 15% on a year-over-year basis. But look at all these other counties here that are recording a decrease in home prices on a year-over-year basis here. Alameda County, down. Contra Costa, a decrease. Marin County down by 1.3%, and San Francisco and San Mateo, the biggest decliners here. San Francisco down by 7.1%, and San Mateo County down by 10%. Because then, 1 year ago, the median sold price was $2.11 million. Now it's only $1.9 million. Obviously, this is much higher than the median sold price nationwide, which is around $400,000, actually a little bit less than $400,000. But as you can see here, a lot of these counties here in the Bay Area are declining compared to 1 year ago. And again, we're also seeing giant decreases in home sales, both on a month-to-month basis and also on a year-over-year basis as well. Let's talk about SoCal, Los Angeles. Look at this. Home prices only increasing by 0.6%. This could very well be a negative in November and potentially in December as well, because they're very close to getting there, because only increasing by 0.6% in 1 year, and prices declining by 4.2% in one single month. Also in San Diego, declining by 4.3% compared to September 2022, and prices only increasing by 1.2% from 1 year ago. Let's also talk about the Central Coast. Monterey, flat compared to 1 year ago for home prices. San Luis only up by 1.9%. And again, in Santa Barbara, increasing by 33.2%, but that's probably from the mix of home sales, fewer home sales in the more affordable range and or more expensive like luxury home sales that possibly occurred in October that drove this giant increase of 33.2%. Let's also talk about the Central Valley and especially Sacramento, or where I live. So the median sold price here is $512,500. 1 year ago, it was $510. So prices only increased by 0.5% on a year-over-year basis here. Placer, though, declined by 0.6%. San Benito down by 0.9%. San Joaquin down by 0.4%. And Stanislaus down by 2.3% from October 2021. Also in the far north, home prices increased by 24.9% on a year-over-year basis there in Lassen. Plumas County declining by 5.9%. And look at Tehama, the median sold price declining by 20.6% compared to October 2021. Amador County, look at this. Prices declined by 15.2%, whereas El Dorado County, which is just east of Sacramento, which is the next county over, or next county east of Sacramento, prices there increasing by 11.2%. And by the way, anytime I say prices, I mean the median sold price, right? Anyways, Mariposa County declining by 12.3%. And lastly, Mono County increasing by 14.3% for home prices compared to 1 year ago. So please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.